Hello, good evening. A truly devastating earthquake, devastating in every sense of the word, struck just minutes ago. Well, not just minutes, about half an hour ago. This devastating earthquake hit the Ring of Fire and struck the country of Papua New Guinea. You'll definitely ask me how strong the earthquake was. Unfortunately, the earthquake was very strong with a magnitude of 7.2 on the Richter scale. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back in a few seconds. Subscribe to the channel. Welcome back again. If this is your first time watching this channel or this program and you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to activate the notification bell and of course like the video if you enjoyed it. The strike happened about 3 to 4 hours ago. Before I continue, let's say today is Sunday, April 2nd. Today is the 11th day of the blessed month of Ramadan. The time now is 3:50 p.m. Turkey and Syria time. A very strong and destructive earthquake just struck Papua New Guinea. Of course, as we mentioned, the earthquake had a magnitude of 7 point something, 7.2 on the Richter scale. There's no need to tell you that this is the strongest earthquake to hit the region or the world since the February 6th earthquake, the one that struck Kahramanmaraş in Turkey, leaving behind a black hole and a wound that still hasn't healed yet. Now it's causing aftershocks, other earthquakes, and possibly even foreshocks in the region. The earthquake, as we said, struck exactly at 9:05 p.m. on Sunday, April 2nd. It hit at 9:05, of course, according to Turkey and Syria's local time. The earthquake, as was noted, didn't last just 10 seconds or 2 seconds or 5 seconds. According to the reports that came in, people felt the earthquake and it lasted between 30 and 60 seconds. The earthquake hit, right? It didn't hit the sea or the ocean, did it? It hit Papua New Guinea itself. It hit on land. And maybe, but I tell them, fortunately, it hit a lake on land, a small lake inside a city within Papua New Guinea. And the earthquake, according to its location, I checked the monitoring stations and analyzed the image, honestly, more than once because I wanted to know exactly where the earthquake's epicenter was. The earthquake hit Lake Chambri. It's a very small lake located in Papua New Guinea. Yeah, near the town of Klembit and about 1 kilometer away, so it hit almost directly. Yeah, the lake is about 15 to 16 kilometers long. The earthquake struck inside it, about 1 kilometer away from the land. Yeah, and only about 1.5 kilometers away. Imagine after the earthquake, the epicenter was just 1.5 kilometers away from a church, a very famous church there, which is the Chambri Church in the city of Ipum. As you can see in the picture in front of you, of course, there's no need to remind you that Papua New Guinea is located on the Ring of Fire, or the Fire Belt, which is that chain. The well-known chain of earthquakes and volcanoes, but usually the earthquakes we've seen and the tremors that happened before this date, we used to see them. Already 3, 4, 5, the maximum it reached was 5.8, and it had reached 6. But for a devastating earthquake with a magnitude of 7.2 to hit. On the Richter scale, you know what it means when an earthquake is above 7. Imagine if this earthquake had struck in the ocean, for example. In the ocean off Papua New Guinea, immediately we would have thought of a tsunami. I mean, glory be to God, the Lord of the worlds, truly the mercy of the Lord of the worlds. First, it hit on land, but that reduced the earthquake's force. It didn't strike directly on land, it struck in a lake. Inland. And thank God the depth was about 15 kilometers. So I'm telling you, with an earthquake of this magnitude, if it had been in the ocean, it would have reached Papua New Guinea, and immediately tsunami warnings would have started. There could even have been a tsunami. There were a lot of reports about Papua New Guinea, but it doesn't have a very large population. Even the city of Taibum, as I was just informed, doesn't really have a big population, so there isn't a high population density. Let's say it's almost located on the Ring of Fire. It's south of Indonesia and east of Australia. But could there be something even more dangerous than that? What we need to talk about is the warning. The Dutch scientist Frank Hugebeets, who was mentioned in today's episode. I noticed that not many people paid attention to it. He had clearly warned about Tuesday, April 3rd. Now, in Papua New Guinea, April 3rd has almost arrived for them. On Tuesday, April 3rd, as soon as we entered April 3rd, a devastating earthquake happened. He had said just a few hours earlier that as soon as we enter Tuesday, April 3rd, Venus would be aligned with Mars and Saturn. Venus would be aligned with Mars and Saturn. And he said this alignment is very dangerous. It's very critical. Yeah, so the critical situation will start from Tuesday, April 3rd. And then, as he said, the situation will keep getting more and more critical, where the alignment Venus, Mars, and Saturn will just a few days later coincide with another critical planetary configuration with the full moon on April 6th. With the full moon on April 6th. That means at that time we'll be in the middle of the blessed month of Ramadan and the moon will be full. And he said, yeah, there will be a conjunction, and also we won't just have a full moon. We will also have the moon in conjunction with the planet Jupiter. In addition, there will be a third conjunction, which is the conjunction of Mercury and Venus with the Sun, and it's the strongest of the three conjunctions the region has experienced since February 6th. So we are entering very critical days. According to what Frank Hugebeets said, from April 3rd to April 6th, and he specified that we might actually see, on April 3rd, we will see strong earthquakes. And indeed, as soon as April 3rd started, we saw this devastating earthquake in Papua New Guinea. And he also said that we will still see even stronger earthquakes than this, and also destructive earthquakes. In the very critical period that will be between April 4th and 6th, indicated by three critical planetary alignments with the full moon on April 6th. And Frank says, he tells you when I talk about alignment. And he warned of a major earthquake that could happen a day before or a day after or 2 days before or 2 days after, especially if there is a full moon. He says it's not necessarily a rule. The middle of Ramadan, it could be a day before, a day after, or even 2 days before. This is what we saw recently with the earthquake in Papua New Guinea. Honestly, it was a massive earthquake, a very destructive one. May God help the people. I'm sure they went out into the streets. May God have mercy on them. Maybe God's mercy was that the epicenter was in the lake and not on land. Anyway, that's all for now. I was with you, Ahmad Al-Dira, the host and presenter of the What's Happening show. Take care.